free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Welcome to Your Family Dog, a podcast dedicated to helping families love living with dogs.
Welcome back to the Your Family Dog podcast. I'm Tina Spring, and I'm joined today by the very sick, on week 2, Julie Fudge Smith. So I appreciate her making the time, even though her nose is running. Forgive her if she sounds funny, not clowns funny, but weird funny, because she's sick, but she's falling on her sword to do a really quick little podcast episode. And what we're calling it is Gettin the Wiggles Out. So I'm going to start with a story. Story time. I had the most adorable little girl in my class with her mom and their puppy. And the little girl had learned a song like at school, like at pre-K or whatever. And so what she was doing, because it was her new trick, was walk, 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 wiggle. And she'd wiggle her little hiney like a duck wiggles their little hiney when they stop. And so you could hear her saying it under her breath. Walk, 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 wiggle. Walk, 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 wiggle. It was the cutest dang thing. So as we were walking out of the store together, Mom and I were doing it too. And before you knew it, the energy in the whole environment shifted. Everybody was smiling and laughing. Everyone was greeting one another. And it was kind of a crummy day here in North Georgia. And so the mom and I had this whole conversation about like, this should be a thing. We should incorporate walk, 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 wiggle. Walk, 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 wiggle. Like it loosens up the whole environment. So I thought about that story when Julie told me her story about Zuzu and going to new places to explore on leash. And with that introduction, I'm going to let Julie take it away.
Okay, thank you, Tina. And I do apologize for anybody if for the way I sound, but when you're a mucus production factory, this is the sound you get. Anyway, for the month of March, I pledged to walk 50 miles with Zuzu for cancer research. And so I try to do about 2 miles a day because that'll basically cover what I need to do and give me a little bit of lax time for days that I can't walk. So here in Central Ohio, I found a walking path that is about, if you start at this playground and you end at this one stop sign, it's about a mile. So the whole round trip is 2 miles. And that works out really nicely, especially if I'm a little bit cut for time. But Zuzu, I hadn't walked it before. So I get her leash on and off we go down the path. And I've got my pouch of treats because I never go for a walk without my bait basket or my bait bag on me. And Zuzu is really excited. There's water along the side of the path and the little ravine and there's all these new smells. And she's just, wow, this is so cool. And so she's got a lot more energy and she's a lot less focused on me because she's so excited by the environment. So she's not as responsive. I can call her back to me and give her a treat, but she's dashing off here. She's pulling a little bit more. She's got a lot more wiggles and a lot more distraction. And what I decided was, let's just give her a little bit of leeway. This is a brand new place. Let her sniff. If she gets too out of control, I stop, get her back to me, give her a treat. We calm down, and then we move on again. And what I found was this first walk, she was more out of control. And I had to do a lot more of just, okay, fine. It's all right. I know this is really exciting. Let's just try and regroup. But I let her have some leeway because I thought, if I keep pulling her back and keep, trying to get her in line, she's not going to enjoy the walk. And I'm certainly not going to enjoy the walk. So we get back to the car. We've done our couple of miles. And what I found, and I've been doing this for a few weeks now, every time we go to this particular spot, she gets a little bit less crazy. So what I have found is that each time we walk this path, she's a little bit less distracted, a little bit more focused on me, and she's still enjoying the walk. So we did the walk yesterday, and she was completely focused on me. She walked with me. Occasionally she'd get a whiff and she'd look, and I'd let her go sniff, and she'd sniff whatever she wanted to sniff. She'd come right back to me. We continue on our walk. I'd reinforce her for being at my side. She'd see another sniff, but she stayed in her place. And what I realized was that I had to trust the process, and I had to trust my dog. I had to give her some leeway to be her, to be the dog that she was and is. But I also had to trust the process of all the years I put into this dog, that it would come back eventually. And it did.
Right. She's not an Etch-a-Sketch.
No. Far from it.
But honestly, like, I think about this even in terms of kids. Like, I watch kids too. You take them to a new environment and their marbles fall out of their head.
Absolutely.
Because they're excited or apprehensive or whatever. But that all washes out pretty quickly if we just respond appropriately.
Yeah, I kept thinking to myself, what good is it going to do for me to get frustrated with her or to cut the walk short? I'm not going to get my goal achieved of getting all these miles in, for one, and two, of getting her to be responsive to me in a new environment. And so I just decided, for better or worse, I was going to trust that it was going to work out. And it did. And it was great because I was just a lot calmer. I was a lot more relaxed. I enjoyed the walk more. She certainly enjoyed the walk more. And and I'm keeping myself, who am I trying to prove this to anyway? I mean,
right. Like, who cares?
Right. And she was great. One thing she was great with, even if she was pulling over for this smell or pulling for that smell or trying to get into the lake or whatever, one thing she has done, and Clemmy has done, and they're both very good, is when there's another dog on the path, they look right to me.
Nice.
And so they look at me and I give them treats, and we can either stop and talk if they want to talk, or we can just move by, and my dogs are really calm. And that's the only time that I was really concerned about stay focused on me. And it worked. I mean, that's something we have done from the get-go. And I've had Zuzu's 9.5 now. Yeah, she'll be 10 in June. And I've had her since she was 16 months old. And I've worked on that since the beginning. So that's something I could trust on.
We know that willpower in humans is a finite thing, right? Like, we only can crunch down on willpower for so long, and then we use it up. And I really think that that's true for the dogs too. Like, they can only ignore so much for so long before their brain goes, patooey, and we don't have that willpower anymore. And so I want to be careful about when I'm going to use that, especially in a novel situation, because way more important to me that my dog chooses to defer to me when there's another dog or kids on bikes or something higher order distraction, I guess is what I would call it, than just, there's a flutterby or a squirrel cross the path. Like, fine, lose your marbles over that. I don't care. But I do care that you're not jumping on the doodle puppy coming the other direction or tackling the toddler on their bike with training wheels.
Right. And I think also, if you remain a bit calmer and you just allow your dog to be a dog a little bit,
right,
they're going to realize, they're going to come back. And as Suzu suddenly remembered, oh, wait a minute. Okay, hang on a second here. If I'm next to mom, liver happens. When I'm not next to mom, liver doesn't happen.
There is no liver, but there is squirrel poop.
Yeah. But right now, the liver is overwhelming.
It's better.
Yeah, it's better. And so allowing her to make some decisions. So I didn't even ask her to be, this last walk, I didn't even ask her to be by my side. She chose to do that. And so I heavily rewarded that. So I think it's also important to understand that when your dog makes the choice you want them to make, because they can make other choices. She has definitely made other choices. When she made that choice, I'm like, yes, that's my good girl. I'm going to make sure you understand that I appreciate you making that decision. And so that's one reason why I never leave the house without a bait bag, because I never know when the opportunity is going to arise for me to really reinforce a desirable decision that she's made.
Right. Or when there's going to be an emergency.
Yes. Yes. We were walking on one path. This was not the same path. This is another path we've discovered, which I have to go back and do repeatedly so that Zuzu comes to the conclusion.
Right.
But it was really, it was interesting. Brad and I were walking, and our dogs met a couple of dogs, and they did fine. But we went past this one gentleman, and our dogs weren't even looking. Whenever Clemmy sees a dog on the trail, she stops. And she just stares and assesses for a while. That's every time she sees something, she stops and stares and assesses. She's just like Brad. And anyway, this guy came along, and his dog seemed perfectly fine. But he picked, and this must have been a 40-pound dog, picked his dog up to walk by us. Did this both times we encountered him. I thought that was an interesting thing.
Maybe his dog is in air jail for a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it had nothing to do with Clemmy. Maybe it had to do with his dog.
Yeah, I think so. But, he did it with Zuzu. He did it with Clemmy. He just, even though our dogs were not really showing any interest, he just picked her up.
But it did not matter. It might be about his dog. And you'll laugh, like, air jail is a thing. I see lots of people pick up their dogs that they're like, okay, this dog is going to lose his marbles. I'm just going to pick him up, even when they're big.
Yeah, but I see it a lot more with the small dogs. The small dogs get airborne very quickly.
Yes. Especially if you have big dogs.
Yes.
I'm always like, okay, I'm way more worried about your Maltese damaging my Doberman than the other way.
But I also appreciate it. Like, if I were a Chihuahua, right? And everything, absolutely everything in the world was bigger than me.
Yeah, Chihuahuas don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're like, I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof. They're big dogs.
Yeah. But I would still, I can understand.
Package.
I can understand the small dog, like, oh my goodness, everything is bigger than me and is going to eat me mentality. But,
right.
Anyway, so that was my big realization, was that, okay, so Zuzu and I now can attack a variety of other places where we walk, where she's not off lead, but she has to be on lead. And knowing that over time, the more we walk it, the
better she gets at it.
She's gonna get.
But it also speaks to the difference between a novel and or socialization and habituation, right? Socialization doesn't stop when our dogs become adults or become 16 weeks old or 20 months old or whatever. Socialization happens for the life of the dog, the same way that development in humans continues for the life of the human. We're all we're moving through developmental stages, even though, I'm old. So, or middle-aged. I suppose I should call it middle-aged because I don't intend to, I'm still buying green bananas. So, but habituation is the same experience over and over and over again. Zuzu's getting really good at that, right? She's showing you that as she explores an environment, the environment starts to habituate, and then she can do what you want. But when it's novel, it's a little overwhelming for her, and she needs to check it all out. Honestly, I think that's reasonable. She's not in church. She's in nature, and she's a gun dog. Like, she's supposed to be interested in the environment.
Yes. And yes. So, but anyway, to me, it was just a revelation, wait, like, my training really worked. Who knew? Who knew that I could actually train my own dog? I can train other people's dogs, but people
can feel that way sometimes.
People always say, oh, you must have really well-behaved dogs. I'm like, my clients do. Mine are okay. Mine are, they're good enough. My dogs live in the world of good enough.
But good enough is awesome, right? Like, we all train our dog to the level that they need to be trained for our lives and what we're asking of them.
Yes.
Right? So if I was interested in putting a whole bunch of titles at the end of my dog's names, do I have the ability to do that? Sure. I just don't have the will. Like, there's other things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure for my dogs. Now, this is not true for all dogs, but for my dogs, I don't think they care.
Yeah.
Mr. doesn't care if he gets a mock after his name. Like, he doesn't care. He does care that he can run off leash and, look for rats. That makes him very happy. So I give him as many opportunities as possible for him to find rats that don't exist out in the wilds of the world. So we go to places where he's not been before, where there's tall grass and wood piles, and especially this time of year where it's not so warm that I'm worried about snakes. But we can go and we can look for rats, even if there are not actual rats. Just makes his heart sing.
Right. I just remember with Zuzu, when we were living in Princeton, and we went up to, we took the train up to New York to go to Westminster. And we were there for the second day. And that happened to be the day when the Flatties were doing the flat coat ring. So we get there. Brad goes over to the burner ring. I go to the flat coat ring because my breeder had supposed to have 3 dogs, but one was pregnant. So she only had 2 dogs in the ring. But I'm watching these dogs, and they're gorgeous. And they're so flatty, and their little tails are waving, and they're trotting, and they're looking, and they're doing other things. And the first thing came to my mind was, oh, Zuzu, you really chose the right career. House dog is just where you should be because
Yeah.
you just. But my favorite.
This would not be her. This
No,
would not
this
be
was
a
not
hat that
her
would fit
venue.
well.
But one of the best things was, Flatties had this perpetual waving tail.
Yes.
And so they're all looking at their owners, and the tails are all waving. And one of them looks over to the right and stops. And then all the other ones look over, and their tails all stop. And then they all look back at their owners, and the tails all start up again.
Right. So I think I've told you I have a young flatty, 10-month-old female in class, and she's phenomenal. I love Remy. I love Remy's mom and dad too, and her big brother Decker. But being around them, they're so stinking funny. Like, they are such funny dogs.
Oh, they are. They're like the Peter Pan of the dog world because they never grow up.
I think they just stay babies. But
do.
Remy's hysterical, and I love watching her marbles fall out of her head, and then for her to chase them all around and stick them back in. It's very, very fun to watch, right?
Well,
and
she fun breed.
She cannot play poker. Like, she communicates every emotion she has at all times. Yeah. Sometimes all at once.
Yes. Yes. Flatties. Flatties and I have a real simpatico. It's so funny because Zuzu's like, "What? Hey, oh, let's go," and Clemmy's like, we need to think about this. And Brad is we need to think about this kind of person, and I happen to be more like, "Oh, let's just go." So
it'll be an adventure.
Yes, it'll be an adventure. So, all right. Well,
thank you for getting up out of your sick bed.
Oh, you're welcome.
To discuss this. I'm gonna pray for your eye doctor that he doesn't catch whatever this is.
Yeah, so do I.
Are you gonna wear 4 masks and try to keep from breathing on him? You're like, don't touch me. Just look at my eyes.
Yeah, I probably should wear a mask. I'll have to find. I don't have many masks anymore. I'm gonna have to find one. So,
well, I mean, you can always drive through a pharmacy.
Yeah, that's true.
Hand them a debit card with tongs.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I mean, when I get clients who come in who are whatever this cold is that we're all getting, I'm like, no. You go home. Like, do not touch anything. Do not pass go. And I'm like spraying everything down with disinfectant when they leave. I'm like, please don't give that to me. I finally am not sick after Christmas. So give me a moment.
It's taken me a while but I was talking to a friend of mine who's a physician, and she was saying, I said, this is the worst cold I've had in years. I have not had a cold hit me this hard, and I don't know how long. She goes, it's because of COVID. Because
we all stayed home.
COVID, we didn't share our cold germs, and so now none of us have any resistance.
Right,
so.
Our immune systems were depressed, but they'll come back. I suppose the rest of us was depressed too. So we can, although the introverts, like as a social introvert, I was like, woohoo. Because I love people. I do. Like, I genuinely love people, but I need decompression.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I get
to
that
decompress.
Completely.
So, a year was good.
Yeah. My daughter, Ellie, she said it was an introvert's paradise.
Yeah. No, everybody expected me to give myself a face tattoo, and I didn't. Like, I I think there were a couple of weeks that Chris and I played that awful COVID game of why do you do that way? It's a game no one wins and the points don't matter. But we hit our stride and we were awesome and really enjoyed a slower pace. So I'm always a little sad when the world goes back to such a fast pace. I'm like, no. I kind of liked it slower.
Yeah. Let's.
And so then, God gave me cancer. So then I got to, or life experience gave me cancer. And so I got to slow down again. I don't think that was on God.
Looked down
We're
and
not
said,
blaming God for that.
Tina looks like she could just use this. So I don't
could use a little touch of cancer.
That's right.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank
Tina.
you for
Sure.
and please, I don't know, take some echinacea or something.
I've been taking everything I can think of. So
right.
Yeah.
And try to rest.
Yeah, I did sleep for like 12 hours yesterday, so that was good. Because I did too much on Monday. I didn't even go curl last night. You know how sick I must have been if I didn't go curl.
Yeah, no curling would be.
I know, it's my women's team, and I.
You were like, you don't need snot on the.
No, and when I curled on Monday night because I was subbing for someone, and I promised in January I'd sub for him. Every time I went down the sheet and I'd do a Kleenex and get one at the other end, I must have used 20 Kleenexes. So anyway, it is what it is, and I will get over it eventually. And, life's good. I'm above ground. So let's go with
right. You're looking down on the grass. Well, and it sounds like you can still go for walks. You just have to take a bunch of Kleenex with you.
Yes. I do.
So you'll get your miles in. Don't worry about it.
Okay. We'll talk to you.
I love you. Have a good night.
Love you too.
Thank you for listening to us on the Your Family Dog podcast. Please subscribe, share the podcast with others so that more people can learn about what we're offering. And we look forward to talking to you next time on the Your Family Dog podcast.
Thanks for listening to Your Family Dog. Got questions? Interesting ideas? Visit www.yourfamilydogpodcast.com to share your thoughts.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.